The adoption of technology by many developing countries of the world have had profound effects on their economics, such as reducing the national cost of production, establishing standards for quality, and allowing individuals to communicate no matter the distance. In fact, the advancement in technology is apparently correlated with globalization. Despite the huge potential of this industry in building the wealth of any society that subscribes through the innovative ecosystem, a wide gap exists between Lagos and the tech community. For Lagos, the economic nerve center of Nigeria, to evolve from being a mega city to a smart city ambition, it needs not only the technology but the techies to interplay so as to drive the wheel of technological advancement in improving the quality of life of its citizens while increasing revenue generation. In the pursuit of this height, the Lagos state government has bridged the gap between the government and the tech ecosystem through the launch of two-fold strategy called the Heart of Technology Lagos 1.0, a design thinking parley, and the Art of Tech conference, both curated by the Eko Innovation Center. The Heart of Technology Lagos 1.0 conference, with the theme Bridging the Gap, took place recently at the Oriental Hotel, Victoria Island, Lagos. It was a convergence of over 2,000 tech giants, policymakers, government officials, venture capitalists, product designers, cultural architects, software engineers and programmers, creative architect innovators, tech enthusiasts, and a new wave of Lagosians to drive innovations that will pave way for the evolution of a smarter, digital, and a more competitive Lagos. Special guest of honor at the conference, Babajide Olushola Sanwo-Olu, the Executive Governor of Lagos State, says that the dream of the government to transform the landscape of Lagos in the areas of transportation, traffic management, health, education, security, and environment can be achieved through technology.
Technology has redefined the way we live and think. Indeed, it is the bedrock of social integration and harmony because of its multiple applications to solve or enhance the act of living itself. It used to be believed that journalism was about histories recorded in a hurry. Nowadays, the disruption of social media as a communication tool records history as it happens. Nowadays, the disruption of social media as a communication tool records history as it happens. Every citizen has the opportunity of recording and transmitting events as they unfold through the platform of social applications. We are prepared to provide Lagosians with the opportunity to connect on the global stage. We cannot disaffirm the intractable challenges that faces a state like ours. With a population that is so high, we'll have obviously infrastructural challenges. A new sustainable method of transportation and infrastructure development needs to be formulated to keep up with the population growth. The use of artificial intelligence to predict movement of human resource and materials and reverse the environmental degradation are critical solutions that we need to adopt. Our challenges puts us in a unique position to engineer not just our own solution, but engineer solutions for the world at large. In view of this and other issues, our administration is committed to releasing and turbocharging our nascent problem-solving potential through innovation in science and technology. This government is launching, therefore, 4 things. What we call the Innovation Master Plan. The Innovation Master Plan, this will highlight the government's critical focus area that will unleash a culture of problem-solving initiative. This plan addresses the 4 main pillars that are required to enable a vibrant, innovative ecosystem. These pillars are: 1, access. Access from data and access to market. Making accessibility easier enables creators like yourselves get a tool and the critical ingredients that they need to engineer fit-for-purpose solutions. Talent. Updated curriculums that match industry needs are critical areas this administration will look to address. Infrastructure, broadband communication cannot be overemphasized in the building of a comprehensive technology ecosystem. The administration has already begun to address this by funding a critical challenge, and we have sort of set up an understanding of our local technology ecosystem by investors. We will tackle this head-on.
He further stated that the government is committed to finding an endless solution to the challenges imposed on the state through science and technology via innovation.
We're open to innovative ideas, we're open to innovative solutions, we're open to collaboration with the technology space, with all of our young people who want to do great and mighty things in that space. Our government is proactively, embracing them, and we're saying that we are ready to share data with them, share data that can help them, do all of those things they know how to do very well.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Lagos Innovation Master Plan, Innovation and Technology Framework for Lagos Smart City. Make some noise, ladies and gentlemen, for the forward-thinking state. We do know that this will be a force to reckon with in very recent times to come. Congratulations and welcome to the team, the government behind this master plan. Lagos State will join other tech cities like New York, Dubai, Singapore, and God willing, we will be the #1 city when it comes to tech in Africa and the world. And for those who do not know, for the first time in the history of Lagos, this is indeed an intellectual engagement between the government and the people. Make some noise for A.O.T 1.0. You don't sound excited, ladies and gentlemen. You do not sound excited.
The Heart of Technology Lagos 1.0 was organized to set up a local technology ecosystem which is expected to drive internet consumption in the next 12 months, increase access to information which will assist software engineers to design problem-solving applications that will encourage the growth of new businesses.
When we look into the manifesto, the plan of Lagos State, long-term to be a smart city and building a 21st century economy, there is a need to have an engagement between the ecosystem that creates these solutions that makes Lagos become a 21st century and the government that drives the policies and will provide the enabling environment for this to happen. And so we see this as a player in the ecosystem, as an opportunity to bridge the gap together. Of course, it was a strongly an initiative from the governor of Lagos State having this conversation, and we took all this essence from what he believes in to create this engagement and for this platform where there is a connect, a handshake between the ecosystem and the policymakers, the Lagos State government.
A structured engagement forum with the private sector to be able to build our innovation and solutions ecosystem. What we see today is that we have a lot of brilliant young people that are consistently churning out products and services that fulfill one need or want or the other. What we are saying is that let us collaborate with the private sector and begin to solve a lot of challenges that we have in the state. So government is in a unique position to understand a number of things, number of challenges that we have. Now, and there are very smart people out there that have ideas on how to solve these challenges. So why don't we form a mutually beneficial relationship to be able to move or to solve all of these challenges one by one, sector by sector, and it's telling that, from the initial feedback, there's been a lot of openness, there's been a lot of talk about collaboration. As such, we are very encouraged. So A.O.T is an engagement forum between the government and the solutions and innovation ecosystem. Science and technology is the bedrock of modern societies. A culture of solving problems is the bedrock of modern societies. And so when people have a culture of solving problems, of taking step-by-step investigative measures to try and eliminate issues at different points, in different value chains, then we know that this society begins to run the track of being a modern society. A ton of the technologically advanced countries today have solved a ton of their own problems through research and innovation, through science and all of this. And we want to begin to push that to the forefront in Nigeria. So when we start to put money towards major issues across the state, people will come and say, look, I have an idea for this. This is what I need funding for, and we are ready and we are open, we are willing to listen to all ideas and to all solutions that are out there so that we can move this economy to the next level.
Lagos State is embarking on a journey, a state of 22 million people, and it continues to grow. We cannot continue to do business as usual. We have to adopt the use of technology to manage most of our affairs. And to do that, we have to think smart and be smarter. The state, under the leadership of Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu, is embarking to provide 6,000 kilometers of fiber connectivity in the state. $3,000 in 2020 and $3,000 in 2021. In addition to that, it's providing 2,000 high-definition cameras so as to accomplish the Safe City initiative and e-governance. Putting all this together will give us smart mobility, smart healthcare, smart education, smart grid energy, smart home, the use of Internet of Things, and smart relay.
The conversations at the Heart of Technology Lagos 1.0 conference centered on the future of work, the dynamics of funding, how technology affects the cultural and behavioral patterns, dynamics of building, MVPS, consumer-centered products, women in technology, and hard talk, an intellectual face-off between the government and the tech community.
Thought about some of the things that even in our own work as an organization prevent us from collaborating with others. That comes down to a scarcity of resources or a scarcity of funding. The entrepreneurs are looking for, whether it's for other entrepreneurs or other funders, or just taking time out to do something, is that we run a fellowship program for individuals working on different issues of social change. And we're very careful that among those 20 fellows each year, we're selecting a certain number better understand what are the challenges that their counterparts working in government face, what are the constraints that each of them are facing.
We started to understand that we should change the whole deficit narrative.
When Lagos was building the Lekki Link Bridge, it was given to Julius Berger, but they were not even skilled enough to build the whole bridge. The tension part of it, that tension part, they have to get it from, they brought people in from Spain to do the tension part. But you know what we do? We wrote to all the universities, and these around Lagos. University of Lagos came, Lagos State University of Lagos, Lagos State Polytechnic, and the rest.
The investment in fiber optics and also in terms of safety, Lagos State is doing what is needed to make Lagos a safer city. The governor is committed, the deputy governor is committed. We're going to work together to make sure that Lagos continues to grow and we prepare a future for our children. We know data is the new oil, and we're going to do a lot to make sure that we harness the power of data.
There were a series of focused workshops exhibitions by tech idealists, as well as funding of innovation and adoption by the Lagos State government.
Challenges, or more like the trend of the mobility of talent, especially in the technology industry, and how essentially all of us in this room can win. Win in the sense that the environment and the ecosystem can win as well. We have here a distinguished panel, set of professionals, and it spans across those who have worked in tech ecosystem, as well as those who are now in the public sector, or both. And we also have an HR professional. I'm going to give a minute opening remark for each panelist, but really what I want to tease out of that discussion, and I'm going to pose the question to Tubosun, Joseph, and Toba, what is the scale of this talent problem? What do you know? How have you experienced this talent? What's the size of it today?
Okay, thank you very much. I hope everybody can hear me. I think one of the things we see is, prioritization, really. The question is, are we prioritizing education at the level that we ought to be? I think one of the key indicators of how we are now taking that prioritization very seriously is the budget of Lagos State. I think education spending is going up a considerable amount, and it's particularly poignant when you see things changing. My speech earlier spoke about how horse and carriages were the main transportation tools, in the 19th century. So imagine when the internal combustion engine was invented, all the horse and carriage people were out of work, And so I think it's incumbent upon government, public institutions, together with the private sector, to really try and envisage, things like that, and then reskill and retool the workforce.
I really want us to get to the heart of it, which is, let's look at the numbers. Okay? There is an undersupply, and obviously there's now a surge in price. So the average developer earning, $14,000 per annum in Lagos, and are being offered at a minimum $50,000, $60,000 if they can just cross. The question to you is, the Office of Transformation and Creativity, what are you seeing? How are you looking at those numbers, and do you see the possibility of bridging that gap? It's either by increasing the supply or by obviously competing.
I think I'll first of all start by emphasizing a little bit about some of the comments that Tubosun made earlier, which is investment in education. Investment in education is very critical. If you look at the numbers, UNESCO actually recommends that as a government, Nigeria is a developing economy. We need to spend something in the region of 15 to 20% of our budget on education. If you look at the federal government's budget in the last 5 years, the spend is around 5 to 7.5%. So education is grossly underfunded. So government needs to put a lot of funding into that space. There needs to be a conversation between government and the tech ecosystem, as well as educational institutions. If you look at some of the numbers coming out of the US, I think in 2016, the shortage, the number of tech and science jobs as against qualified workers, there was a short supply of about 3 million. And it is estimated that if nothing is done about it, that is likely to grow to about 85 million by 2030. That is in the US alone. In Nigeria, the problem is more complex, just like you emphasized, because the small pool of talent that we have are also leaving because there are attractive benefits coming from other nations. So what can we do about it as a government? Interestingly, as you witnessed earlier on, Lagos State government just launched a master plan. Within that master plan, there's a talent element. The talent element is looking at how do we develop our talent locally, and how do we sustain that development. So for me, you can't run away from the issue of demand. Nigeria is a developing country, people will leave. The solution to that is you need to create a steady supply of talent so that as some leave, you still have enough to serve your ecosystem.
We are talking like there are 20 million of us, and person has 3 jobs. And it's a challenge of what the vast majority of the population that is is doing, especially those that are unemployed, and how do you accelerate that talent gap? So let me jump to you, Joseph. You've worked 21 years consulting, a lot around talent management. And there's this question about skills, education to skills match, or more like education to demand for jobs. So how have you seen that evolve over time, especially if you've been managing talent for many companies over 21 years? Are we diverging further or converging around what our schools are producing vis-a-vis what it is that the industry's demand?
I think, to your point, and back to Thomas' point, I like the way you phrased it in terms of there's a major paradox here, where there's so much, you look at the population size, our population size is quite large, but yet, you don't have the right skills. Now, in terms of whether there's a convergence, or whether, I think it's even diverging the more. The divergence is actually on the increase, and that's the reality, right? And that takes me to the point, when you talk about future of work, I think I want to step back a bit very quickly. We talk about future of work, what comes to our mind? We talk about future of work, I don't think, while technology exponential or the advancement in technology as or it's one of the things driving the future of work, I think it's important to look beyond, technology itself, in the sense that there's so much. So, we talked about earlier about people having, I see Andrew raising up his hand. I'm sure we're in the same business, and I know what we're facing on a daily basis in terms of talent. Now, the issue, therefore, is we need to really understand this whole concept of future of work itself, which means that we have to dimension it from 3 different points of view. There is the issue of the work to be done, the issue of the workforce to do the work, and there is the issue of where is the work to be done. Now, a lot of organizations today are facing challenges across the 3 areas. So if you do not address those 3 areas, recognizing that the workforce ecosystem, the fact that the workforce itself is so hyper-connected and it's so diverse as we speak today, you will continue to suffer from this whole idea of losing talent. Now, are those talents going to be loyal to you? Let's not face the reality here. They're not going to be loyal. It's unfortunate, but that's the reality. The loyalty of that talent to you is just for 8 months, and that's if they're lucky. They are loyal for 8 months. However, the challenge for us, as organizations, is we need to start asking ourselves, and back to what Thomas said earlier, how do we increase that supply? And increasing the supply, we have to start from, our system of education is completely, I'm sorry to use the word, but that's the reality. It is not what it is. And once that we don't fix it, we will continue to have this divergence.
Thank you very much.
According to the words of Buckminster Fuller, and I quote, "You never change things by fighting the existing reality. To change something, build a new model that makes the existing model obsolete." Join us for the concluding part of the Heart of Technology Lagos 1.0 conference on this channel as various stakeholders chart a new course for the new Lagos.